Hello, planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730. I'm Preston Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations. You've made your way to the Buffy-ngton Post. Today we're doing our review for Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, number 14, entitled Relationship Status Complicated, Part 1. This is a really good issue, but I'm going to change things up a bit, and I'm going to start off with something that I absolutely loved from this month's Slay the Critics. Slay the Critics, if you don't read the comics per se, is this part at the end of the comics where they answer fan letters and all this good stuff. You can tell them what you like, what you don't like, how Buffy changed your life, how you hate what they're doing in the comic books, whatever. You can write to them at, Buffy@darkhorse.com if you want to. So this one was so great. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to read you the whole thing, and I'm sorry it's going to take a minute. Dear Buffy writers, in the Buffy heyday, I was a seventh heaven watching sixth grader. Occasionally, I'd watch the kind of creepy show that came on next. The one where the baby went to hell and came back as a vengeful teenager and a green demon, Lorne, made an impression. I didn't know that it was a spin-off show, and I lost interest pretty soon. Flash forward to grad school. I'd been vampire burned by Twilight, but not one of my master's level children's lit courses went by without someone making a Buffy reference and insisting that I watch it. That summer, I mainlined it so fast that whenever the Netflix logo came up on a TV or phone screen, my little brother would say, let me guess, Buffy. Fine, the show wasn't perfect, though I think it had better female and race representation than a lot of shows do now. There were mistakes made. As a hardcore Buffy Spike shipper, I know all the drama and all the fandom back and forthing that happens about that and other things. For what it's worth, I think the comics are doing a great job of addressing mistakes of the past. But all of that is a pretty generic story. I could say a lot of things about how important Season 6 was to me at a time when I was in my early 20s, lost, spiraling, and feeling everything that Buffy felt. Those things have been said before. But as much as I wanted to be Buffy and for her to make out with Faith, come on, that chemistry is so there. I never would be. Not because I was a normal girl, but because I was a girl with a disability. A skin disability, to be specific. One that causes easy bruising and tearing and, most importantly to this story, a lack of elasticity. My skin sags everywhere. Needless to say, that doesn't get shown on TV until Clem. Clem, the demon with the skin condition, who is also a genuinely nice guy who fights his demonic urges. Sure, he's eaten kittens. Yeah, he could pick a better lover. But he gets one, and I choose to believe Harmony wouldn't keep him around if she didn't care for him. I mean, yeah, I think it would be a better example if it wasn't abusive, but they're both demons, and if they fight their generally evil urges in most other facets of life, well, I'll take it. Because Clem, he means more to me than I think anyone could ever imagine. So thank you for continuing to bring him back and continuing the story I love so much. It's gotten me through some times even darker than the ones I was going through during Season 6. I hope that there are others like me who take the Buffy journey and find that it means something to them that no one else would have ever imagined. Guys, I love this. This is what Buffy's all about. And Chelsea, I hope you find my channel. I love your story. It's so beautiful. I was thinking, who knew that somebody could relate to Clem so much? And we all feel like we kind of can relate to Clem, but I just love this story. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, so on to the issue.
You've been out there on your own, maybe feeling all alone, but deep inside I thought that you knew. No matter where you are, a part of me will always be with you. No matter where you are, a part of you will always be with me too.
I gotta say, guys, I really like this issue. We start off, Spike had thought he had killed some people, and then he decided that he really hadn't, and then Buffy and Xander had been ambushed by these, new shape-shifting vampires, right? So they decide to send someone's astral projection form into Spike's head while he's sleeping so that they can gain parts to his unconscious mind that he can't get access to. Okay? So, Spike doesn't want Buffy to go into his head. He would rather have somebody like Xander go in there because, Spike and Buffy have just started off this relationship thing again. And, they just had sex again. And he doesn't want Buffy to go wandering through his mind looking at all the awful stuff he's done in the past, right? So Xander's like, I'm not going in your head. And Buffy's like, whatever's in there, it'll be fine. I can suffer through the worst of it. And, this isn't going to change how I feel about you. And so she kisses him for luck, and Xander goes, yeah, well, Princess Leia did that too, and it turned out that, and Dawn just smacks him upside the head. So they lie down on the bed together. Everybody's like all around the bed, and Spike is put to sleep by Giles and Willow's spell. So Buffy is talking to Willow. She says, maybe I don't want to be in his head. Maybe he's right. Maybe I don't want to see everything that Spike has been up to. And Willow's like, well, if you're that worried about it, just don't be with him. And she's like, oh, fucking great pep talk, Will. So anyway, she goes into Spike's head, and she is kind of drifting through his memories. And the first memory that she comes across is when she and Spike had recently slept together. She's watching it from the third person. And so she's in Spike's mind, and she's looking through these different memories, and a lot of them are of her. And she understands that Spike loves her. Like, real, complicated, human love. Like, it's real. It's not some storybook fantasy love, and it's not some tortured, rapey love. It's love in its most basic form. And so she's drifting through his memories, and she's really moved by how much he really cares about her and how she finally feels like she and Spike are so connected. And then she drifts into Spike's season 9 memories when he was in London, and she sees that he totally had sex with Harmony, and she gets upset, and Willow is kind of guiding Buffy through Spike's memories, and she's like, whatever you're seeing in there, just remember, Spike loves you. This is when y'all weren't together. And so Buffy's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he would sleep with Harmony and all this good stuff. And Willow says, do you see yourself there? And when she looks, she sees the way that Spike sees her, this beautiful, idyllic Buffy. And she's like, I may look like that on my best day, maybe. And Willow's like, see, this is how Spike sees you. Then Buffy starts going further into his past. Like, she looks at his, demonic situation with the whole murder thing, and she's like, oh, well, this is what I need to follow. So she starts to follow this kind of shadow from the incident where Spike thinks he murdered somebody. So she's following this shadow through his mind, and she sees where Spike got his soul. And she understands how painful and awful this experience was. And he made this decision. He went through all of this without having his soul for Buffy. And this really, really moves Buffy. She can't believe just how much Spike fucking loves her. So she's following this shadow, and it leads her to the moment that Spike was sired. It leads her into Drusilla. And from Drusilla, it leads her within Drusilla and out and into Angel, or Angelus, when he sired Drusilla. And from Angelus, it takes her into Darla, and from Darla, it takes her into the Master. And then, from within the Master, she just kind of lands, okay? Now, interesting side note is that there is a popular theory among fans that the reason that Darla, Angel, Drusilla, and Spike are so powerful is that they do have this direct lineage to the Master Vampire. And there's also this fan theory that the reason that, Darla, and then Angelus, and then Drusilla, and then Spike, it's like they get a little less evil as the bloodline is diluted, as it's not as close to the Master, you see? So Buffy lands, and when she looks up, she is with this like great big fucking old one, and he's like, I'm Arcaus. And he looks kind of like Kid Devil and Goku and Marrow and like Gizmo. He's like these spider bones coming out of his back, and he looks like a lion, but he's all like fleshy. It's gross, but awesome at the same time. So this thing starts to like go after Buffy's astral form within Spike's mind, and it's like trying to kill her. So Spike is awakened by Willow and Giles. They come out of the trance, whatever. She's like, okay, this dude's name is Arcaus. That's what I got. And basically, Giles tells us that Arcaus is the demon from which the Master became a vampire. Now, this is a little weird because we were told that all vampires descended from Malokir, the first vampire, but the idea here, I guess, is that, you know, vampires come from a series of different old ones, and the Master happened to have been made by Arcaus. Okay, so Giles says, you know, once a vampire is made, the demon essence that it's connected to is what animates all the vampires that are made henceforth. And so, yes, Spike, Angelus, Darla, and Drusilla are all versions of Arcaus, this old one from whence the Master was made. So Buffy thinks this is weird. She's like, I literally fell in love with the same guy twice. Like that. They are going to try and find Arcaus, and Buffy got the feeling that he was like near the waterfront. And then Spike's like, hold on before we go and fight this demon, whatever. Everybody leaves except for Spike and Buffy. They're left alone, and he's like, you know, what you saw in there, you know, I don't want you to see that. I never wanted that for you. And she's like, you know, honestly, I don't know how I feel about all this. There's stuff in your head that I wasn't ready for, but, you know, when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll let you know. And they support each other. And this, like I said, this turn for the Spike and Buffy relationship in season 10 has been really interesting. So whatever, they go off to the docks to try and like find Arcaus. So when they do, they are ambushed again by the new like shape-shifting, we turn into bat monsters, vampires. So then Arcaus like bursts forth from the ground. I swear, he looks like a spider lion zombie. Willow like tries to blast him, but he's got like mystical shields, and she's like, ah shit, he casts spells too. And he's like, yeah, I'm not as good as you, but watch this. So he like cuts Willow with one of his Marrow, Gizmo, spider claws. And Buffy's like, oh, fuck that. She takes a scythe and starts whacking at him. Well, none of this is helping. And then Spike starts to take a couple whacks at him. And so Arcaus like hits Buffy and she bleeds, and Arcaus is like, you smell that Slayer blood, Spike? Yeah. And see, the thing about it is he's like taunting Spike, but Spike is like, yeah, I have my soul, so your demon essence doesn't have any hold over me. And he's like, oh, well, are you sure? And he like, again, makes him smell this Slayer blood. And then Spike just kind of like goes crazy. He's like, Buffy, run. And she looks, and he is trying to motherfucking kill her. All right, so I like this issue. I did. And, you know, in number 12, Dawn was like, Buffy, I want to talk to you. And Buffy was like, no, I ain't got no time. So clearly she wants to talk about Xander because, I mean, the title of the issue is Relationship Status Complicated. So I think in part 2 we are going to get some Dawn and Xander stuff. And I really hope that we get some more Giles stuff. Giles is pretty much just there with exposition and looking like a cute little kid. So, yeah, I really enjoy Rebecca Isaacs' arc. Rebecca Isaacs, I like your art. I'm very impressed. The story is really good. I'm enjoying this. I like the way that they're playing with the mythos. I like that we're, you know, delving into the Buffy and Spike relationship in a very heady way. And, yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say except I enjoyed the issue. It beefed up the mythos and it kept the mystery going. So where do we go from here? I don't know, but I'll be back on May 6th with an Angel and Faith review. And of course, I'll be back with more Game of Thrones reviews, more Buffyverse discussions, and more Season 8 coverage. So, yeah, I'm Personnel Young. You can like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, question come right back here to the Buffy-ngton Post anytime. I've got plenty of videos to keep you busy. I hope you're having a great 2015 so far, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Been a long time out of touch, but in the end it don't mean much, 'cause I am still connected to you. Hey, you've been